Hey guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Lowdown. I'm Wellington, and I'm bringing you guys another free digital comic review video. I got two books that I read on courtesy of the Marvel Comics free deal that they do for everything that they do, pretty much. And so I read two, dealing with the same character I love, even though these are the only two things that I've read of him. That is his own thing, but he's just such a cool looking character, and he seems like a cool character to read, and in fact was, and that was Moon Knight. I read two issues of Moon Knight. I read Moon Knight issue number 1 by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev, and that's the first one I'll review. And the second one I will review is Moon Knight, just a one shot of Moon Knight, so I guess Moon Knight number 1 again, and this is called Silent Night, but Silent Night with the K-N-I-G-T-H-G-H-T. Spelled it wrong the first time, but whatever. But the first issue, Moon Knight issue number 1 by Brian Michael Bendis and Alex Maleev on art. This being my first shot at Moon Knight, I'm glad it was in issue number 1 so I could get caught up with everything. And right here we have Mark Spector being I don't know if this is always what he's done, but at least in this issue he is a successful TV producer. He produces a pretty successful television show, and then he set up shop in LA, and while he's at the party, pretty much celebrating the show and it being, a great show and everything, he gets a call from the Avengers, or at least some of the Avengers. He gets a call from Captain America, Wolverine, and Spider-Man are on the rooftop, and they pretty much tell him that there's crime migrating to California now. A lot of criminals have realized that you can't really set up shop in New York, seeing as how most of the superheroes live in New York, and a lot of the crime is also in New York. So it's kind of hard to be on top there, and it's kind of hard to just do crime in general because with all these superheroes, it's hard to get away with things. So Captain America and Spider-Man and Wolverine, they give Moon Knight the word about, you have to take care of these criminals here now. This is your turf, your territory, and get to work pretty much. And they ask him if he's still crazy, essentially, and so crazy in his head, and he'll be able to handle the job and do all this and that. So he pretty much goes on patrol again as Moon Knight, and Brian Michael Bendis does a lot of dialogue in this, a lot of just talking. There's I want to say 2 or 3 pages where these two thugs are just talking to each other about their boss, and we don't know who the boss is yet, but about their boss giving them jobs, and one of them feels like he's being set up for failure, and the other one's just happy to be working, and they're on a dock to pick up a shipment of something that we find out later, and that's where it's just a lot of talking. It's semi-important, so you shouldn't skip over it, definitely not, but it's just what Bendis does. This is an example of him putting a lot of words in a book, and so I haven't had any real problems with it. It didn't get in the way too much. It was entertaining, but it was a lot of just talking to each other. But then they get sight of the person they're going to be picking up the shipment from, and another character that I had not known about until recently, that I just reviewed something he's been in 2 videos ago on the FDCR, and now he's back in another book, and that's Mr. Hyde. I reviewed him in the Toxin book, and now he's in Moon Knight, so I guess he's a recurring character in this video series that I do. But anyways, he's there to deliver the shipment to these thugs. He wants money. There was no money discussed when they were talking with the boss about, getting the shipment. Big fight ensues. Not even a fight really, but Mr. Hyde destroys these thugs, kills them, and tries to go off with the shipment. Gets in a fight with Moon Knight, and that pretty much all that stuff happens. And Moon Knight survives the fight, and he's kind of lurking around now, following Mr. Hyde. And what he finds out is that Mr. Hyde is delivering an Ultron. So now we're getting back into more recent stuff with Age of Ultron going on. A character I didn't know about until recently either. So now we got an Ultron being sold. Moon Knight steals the head of it, and the boss that we still don't know who it is, he shows up though, but we don't see him. And him and Mr. Hyde are arguing pretty much, and then we get left at that. And then so Moon Knight retreats back. He's got the Ultron helmet, and he's talking to Cap, Spider-Man, and Wolverine. They're discussing what is the need for a headless Ultron. It might be used for weapons because adamantium's not very easily found. Costs a lot. It's a good amount of money. You could sell it and all this and that. And then what we find out at the end, which is the biggest, the best part of this, is the last page. And we realize Moon Knight is crazy because he's been imagining these Avengers being there the entire time. And so he's actually on his own, even though the Avengers in his head have been reassuring him that, he's not alone. This is what being an Avenger is all about, helping one another. And in fact, he is all alone. So Brian Michael Bendis did a great job at writing this story. A character that I don't think this book got many issues in its run. So I might try to pick this up, honestly, this entire run, because I don't think there's that many issues, and they should not be hard to find, and not very expensive either. I know my comic shop that I go to has a bunch of these, honestly. So there's that. Alex Maleev on art does a pretty cool job. I prefer him. I think his best work is on Daredevil. I don't know why. I didn't like him, or I kind of liked him on the Batman book, the second book that just came out from Batman 19. And this book was pretty good. Some parts, because he does a lot of grainy and gritty stuff. Some parts were a little hard to see. But for the most part, it was great art, and definitely had me in the story the whole time. So Moon Knight issue number 1 is a definite recommend. And now the second book, like I said before, is a Moon Knight one-shot titled Silent Night. And this is told from the perspective of Marlene, Mark Spector's girlfriend. The writer on this is Peter Milligan with Laurence Campbell on art. And again, the story's being told from Marlene, Mark Spector, Moon Knight's girlfriend. It's taking place on Christmas Eve. And we get a story about these two hijackers, or not even hijackers, but muggers. They are trying to collect money from this guy dressed as a Santa. He doesn't have it, and they end up killing the Santa Claus, which, throws Moon Knight over the edge. Pretty much because him and his hallucinations getting on his nerves really bad. Pretty much encouraging him that this is Christmas, that you can't just let people go that killed a Santa on Christmas. That's like, at one point they say, who's next, Minnie Mouse, or I forgot the other example they said, but pretty much just lovable characters that we all know as children and all that. So Moon Knight is being, he's extra violent. He's just patrolling the streets pretty much, while at the same time his girlfriend Marlene is setting up for a nice Christmas Eve dinner at their apartment. And she's just thinking about, even though it's Christmas Eve, you can't get caught up, or at least she can't get caught up in thinking that she can have a normal life with her boyfriend being a psychotic vigilante patrolling the streets all the time, and she just wants a normal life. She wants to live in a small town, have a couple kids, open a mom and pop convenience store, all this kind of stuff. Just live a very nice lifestyle, and wants them to forget about the city and all this other kind of big things that pretty much make her life not normal. And while she's doing this, she's preparing a nice dinner. She's getting ready, and she's just thinking about all the things that she wants from Mark. And in the meantime, he's, like I said, he's patrolling, and he's just brutalizing these guys that killed the Santa. He can't even remember if he killed the guy or not. I'm pretty sure he kills the guy. Oh no, he doesn't kill it. There's like a Moon Knight mobile. They call Moon Knight the Batman of the Marvel Universe, and I can definitely see where they think that in this issue. But he's got like a Moon Knight mobile, which is not nearly like the Batmobile. This is like a Cadillac, like an old time Cadillac with a moon painted on the hood of the car, and or a half crest moon, and Moon Knight takes care of one of the murderers, by smashing him through the windshield of his own car, leaving this guy to he's gonna be paralyzed for probably the rest of his life. And while he's doing that, while he's roughing up one guy, another guy escapes, and that guy pretty much comes back at him. He kills an innocent person right in front of Moon Knight, and then hits Moon Knight with his car, where then Moon Knight proceeds to take care of this guy, and it's kind of what he deserves, but it really makes the reader think whether or not what Moon Knight does is right or wrong, because he doesn't take the approach Batman does. He's kind of like if Batman met the Punisher met Deadpool. Crazy, brooding character that can also kill. So there's that aspect of Moon Knight. So it's kind of like he can't even live a normal life, and that's what his hallucinations always telling him, that he's always looking up from the outside in, and he's never gonna be that normal person, never gonna have that normal life with anybody, because all he does is bring pain and suffering. And he says that everything that Moon Knight touches eventually bleeds, and it comes full circle at him, and he sees it for himself. And but at the end of this, he eventually makes it to the dinner with Marlene. They skip dinner and they go straight to the bedroom. They do their thing, and then I kind of get the feeling that Moon Knight or Mark, he leaves, or he's going to say something to her, because he says Marlene, and he's getting up, and he put his clothes back on and all this, and Marlene's just like, save it, you've already got your Christmas present, let's just call it a night. And then he leaves, and I'm pretty sure that he just went out to be Moon Knight again, and she's left with, in her thoughts, like, I have to remember that I can't have a normal life because this is who I am. And so it's kind of leaves you not at a happy moment, because it is Christmas Eve and you want a Christmas Eve story to be happy, but it's definitely a story that is pretty realistic to the situation. Not realistic, of course, because he's a vigilante going around, doing all this stuff, but realistic in, the emotion that would happen. And so I definitely recommend this issue as well. It's a Moon Knight one-shot, issue number 1, again called Silent Night. If you guys can pick up this one as well, it's a great story to read. You pick it up and read it, and it's just great. The art here by Laurence Campbell is awesome as well. It's gritty and it's snowing, so it's kind of hard to see, but he definitely makes what you need to see clear. And Moon Knight, even though he's an all-white hero, he's very dark in this. They shade him almost entirely in this, besides his cape and his hood. and his moon. So that's all great stuff. And yeah, so that's gonna really do it for me, guys. Those are the two books I reviewed for you. Definitely check out some Moon Knight if you haven't, because he's a pretty cool character. He's definitely living up to the hype of the Batman of the Marvel Universe, even though I still like to call Daredevil that. But that's my own opinion. But anyways, hit me up on Google Plus, guys, if you haven't. I'll put my link down there if you got it, and you haven't added me there. I'm going to be trying to do more stuff on there now. I've been away from it for a while. But anyways, before I start rambling, I'm Laurence signing off with a comic book lowdown. I'll see you guys next time.